I never thought a simple hike could turn into a nightmare. It was a bright and sunny morning and I decided to go for a walk in the nearby woods. The forest was familiar, or so I thought, having visited it countless times before. The leaves rustled underfoot as I ventured deeper, guided by the chirping birds and the gentle whisper of the wind through the trees. I had been walking for hours, following an unmarked trail that I thought would eventually lead me back to civilization. But the forest seemed different that day, as if the trees had rearranged themselves while I wasn't looking. Panic began to dawn at the edges of my mind, and I realized I was lost. The warm sunlight had now given way to long air shadows, and a sense of foreboding engulfed me. I attempted to retrace my steps, but every direction I turned seemed identical, with no recognizable landmarks to guide me. My phone was out of signal range, rendering it useless. As night fell, I knew I had to find shelter. I stumbled upon a small, rickety cabin. Its windows were cracked and the wooden walls were withered with time. Didn't relish the idea of entering such a decrepit place, but my fear of the dark forest outside outweighed my unease. I pushed the door open with a creak, revealing a dimly lit room. Dust danced in the feeble light, and the air was heavy with the scent of damp wood. The cabin's interior seemed frozen in time, with old, weathered furniture, faded photographs. I knew I had no other option but to spend the night here. I found an old, tattered journal on a wooden table, its pages yellowed with age. It belonged to someone who had experienced a similar ordeal. The entries were filled with increasing despair as the writer described how the forest played tricks on them, shifting and distorting reality. As I read on, the writer became more and more unhinged, writing about shadowy figures lurking in the woods. The final entry read, "They are watching me, and I am not alone." I shuddered, realizing that I was not the first to experience this bizarre phenomenon. I closed the journal and made a makeshift bed on the cabin floor. The night was long and restless as the forest outside came to life with strange noises. I felt an air presence as if the very trees themselves were observing me. Morning finally broke and I left the cabin, determined to find my way out of this labyrinth of trees. The forest appeared to be a different place than daylight, its surroundings illuminated by a pale ghostly light. I walked in what I hoped was a straight line, but the trees and shadows conspired to confuse me. Hours turned into days, and my energy waned. Hunger down my stomach, and I foraged for berries and edible plants. My body ached, my spirit sank as despair began to take hold. The once familiar woods had become a tortuous maze. I finally stumbled upon a clearing with a large ancient tree in the center. At its base lay a pile of withered stones, each one with a word engraved on it. They formed a phrase, "The forest is a mirror, and it will reveal your true self." The words sent shivers down my spine. What did it mean? As night fell, I built a small fire to ward off the chilling darkness. I had given up hope of finding my way out. But then I remember the cryptic message by the ancient tree. I realized that maybe, just maybe, the forest was trying to tell me something. As I sat by the fire, I began to think about myself and my choices. I had taken the forest for granted, as though I knew it inside out. I had been careless and had strayed from the known paths, venturing into the uncharted. The woods had become a reflection of my own lack of direction, a manifestation of my inner confusion. With this realization, I decided to try a different approach. Choose a path that seemed to appear magical, almost as if the forest was guiding me. It was different from the one I had initially taken, but I had nothing to lose. The path led me deeper into the heart of the forest. My footsteps felt lighter and the shadows seemed less menacing. As I walked, I began to recognize familiar landmarks. The forest's secrets began to unfold, and I saw that I was trying to teach me a lesson. Days turned into weeks, and I finally emerged from the forest. It was the same place I had entered, but I was different. The forest had shown me the way not only out of its depths, but also out of my inner confusion. It had been a mirror, revealing my true self. I had learned that sometimes getting lost can be a gift. It forces you to confront your fear, your flaws, and your own limitation. It can reveal the strength and resilience you never knew you had. The forest had taught me that while the unknown can be scary, it can also be a path to self-discovery. As I left the forest behind, I knew that I would never underestimate the power of nature again. I had been lost in the woods, but I had also found myself. That was a journey worth taking.